Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Public Works for today, Monday, June 3rd, 2019.
Commissioners Garcia, Cabello, James, Davis, and Colosa are present. President James, you do have a quorum. May we start with Bureau introductions, beginning with the Bureau of Contract Administration.
Good morning, Bureau of Contract Administration. Brett McReynolds.
Good morning, Bureau of Sanitation. Yasi Lozano.
Good morning, Robert Vega, Bureau of Engineering.
Good morning, Janet Kwan, the Bureau of Street Lighting.
Good morning, Pamela Ostrander, Bureau of Street Services.
Good morning, Ted Jordan, Public Works General Counsel.
Good morning, Paul Roch, filling in for the Executive Officer. Mr. President, you have one speaker under general public comment, no commentary as part of the Neighborhood Council comment section, and one speaker on agenda items 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Okay, agenda item number 5 has been continued at the request of Streets LA to June 21, 2019, the city trees update. Without objection, we will continue that item. Let's go ahead and have general public comment, Mr. Sachs.
Thank you. Good morning. Arnold Sachs. I hope everybody had a good weekend. Let's go to work. So I believe last week you had an item on your agenda about the Hyperion water treatment, that they were going to do something with the water to make it reusable water instead of potable water. So, part of the problem is you get to hear this stuff after the item is passed. But my thought is that neither one of those are drinkable waters, right? It's not going to be something for the public to use. It could be for lawns or public parks, but they'd have to put a sign, this is not drinkable water. The idea that they would take so long to do this, or whatever the cost involved in it, you're kind of like reshoeing a pig's feet after they've been eaten. Then you also had an item on your agenda about a Cisco contract, a construction services contract. And I'm wondering, because the county has job order contracts, and I believe you had an item on your agenda about using county math, which we talked about. And the job order contracts don't require CEQA. So do the Cisco contracts require CEQA? There's also something about local workers and targeted workers. There's something in the county about a TESMA program, which is the Telecommunications Equipment and Services Master Agreement. Does the Board of Public Works have anything like that for communication work? Or that's just DWP, Department of Water and Power? That "and" is a tricky word, remember that. And they also said something about a force account limitation. It's set forth in a public contract code. So do you have any of that going on also? Going to some of these different meetings, if you can cut through the bull, you might actually learn one or two things. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sachs. That will close general public comment. Agenda item number 1, requested contract acceptance, Latuna Canyon Fire Slope Mitigation Rail and Timber Barrier Emergency Repairs at the 9300 block of Elbin Avenue and 9277 Elbin Place. Recommending that the board accept the contract. Mr. Sachs, you walked all the way to the back of the room, but you have a card in on number 1. That's okay. You can sit a little closer. We can save everybody time.
So, again, thank you. Good morning. For the record, Arnold Sachs. I should have said that the first time. So this location, Elbin Place, I'm wondering, it is in a homeowners association neighborhood, and it's timber and rail mitigation. So essentially you're going to put up timber and railing in a homeowners, it's probably a homeowners association, because I can't imagine this being public property and you're doing this. So you're going to do this landscaping in a homeowners association. Isn't a homeowners association like private property? I mean, they get to segregate who is living there. They get to discriminate against who moves in. They get to set standards for what you're supposed to do with the housing, but when there's damages done, then the city and the county step in to help them? Aren't they supposed to put, what are they called? Not tariffs. Assessments on the property. Don't they do property assessments for public areas? Would this not be considered a public area that you're doing the work on? And was there bids? Again, was this a Cisco bid? Was this a job order contract bid? Do they go back and forth between the two because they have different portions to them? So we can continue this on item 2 and 3 if you'd like. That's
Thank you,
okay.
Mr. Sachs. Mr. McReynolds on number 1, I believe.
Yes, President James, I'm here on 1, 2, and 3. Thank you. The 3 tunas. This one is for La Tuna Slope Fire Mitigation, Rail and Timber, and CD7. On January 23, 2018, this contract was awarded next in line to PPC Construction on a T&M basis using the existing and board-approved on-call list geotechnical contractors for emergencies. The project was awarded with a cost ceiling of $175,000. The contract repaired 3 older timber debris barriers that were damaged by winter storms. The project was performed on a T&M basis and verified by both BCA and Bureau of Engineering with a total value of work performed totaling $133,510.02. The contract was issued using the emergency on-call list, thus no specific MBWB levels were established. However, the contractor has complied with all other EEO and labor compliance requirements, and work was completed on February 13, 2018, so we're requesting your acceptance. There are no unresolved property complaints or disputes.
Okay, any questions? I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 1. Second by Commissioner Davis. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 1. Any issue sending number 1 forthwith? We'll send number 1 forthwith. Agenda item number 2, contract acceptance, La Tuna Fire Slope Mitigation, recommending that the board accept the contract. Mr. Sachs, continuing on, you have a card in on number 2.
Yes, thank you again, Arnold Saxon, for the record. So these are work projects that have been completed, and you are been inspected and been okayed, and now you're just saying it's okay to pay the money. If the work was done in like February, and this is June, March, April, May, you let the contractor wait 90 days to get paid. Sometimes that's a little bit long, depending on what the business is. It could be a small business, and they have to wait 90 days to get paid, but they're paying their employees for the work that was done in January and February. That doesn't make sense. You award contracts sometimes where you give out the whole amount of money, and then the people can go to hell because we got the money and you can wait. And with small business, maybe even a disadvantaged business where they need the money to come in to keep their payroll alive and keep their people working, you make them wait 90 days. Is that stipulated in the bidding when you do the contract work for these emergency repairs, that you have to wait 90 days to get paid? That seems awfully discriminatory toward the small businesses and the minority business that you want to attract to do work for the city. That's just darn wrong for so many reasons. I only have 2 minutes. You could go on for 20 hours.
Mr. McReynolds on number 2.
Thank you. La Tuna Slope Mitigation, item number 2. Excuse me. And as a matter of record, we typically pay our contractors about 30 days after the notice of acceptance goes in. We do a final payment based upon that final inspection. This particular project is La Tuna Slope Mitigation. This is the original slope mitigation project. On December 20th, 2017, this contract was awarded on a competitive basis to John S. Meek Company using the existing board-approved emergency on-call geotechnical list. The project was awarded for $298,550 with a contingency for a not-to-exceed total amount of $358,260. This project installed 260 lineal feet of K-rail as well as removed slope debris, a couple thousand cubic feet of slope debris, and other work including fencing at 3 different locations. One change order was issued, bringing the total cost of the contract to $913.23, which is 4.90% below the award amount. The contract was issued using the geotechnical on-call list, thus no specific MBWB levels were established. However, the contractors comply with all other EEO labor compliance requirements, and the work was completed on this project on February 6, 2018. There are no unresolved property complaints or disputed funds. Ask that you accept this one as well.
Any questions on number 2? No questions on number 2. I'll make a motion on number 2, seconded by Commissioner Caloza. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 2. Any issue sending 2 forthwith? We'll send number 2 forthwith. Is there a second to my motion that we approve the meeting minutes from the meeting of Wednesday, April 24th, 2019 by Commissioners Davis and Cabello? Any objection? Without objection, we will approve those meeting minutes. Agenda item number 3 is a contract acceptance, Council District 7, Latuna Fire Slope Mitigation Part 2. Mr. Sachs,
Yes.
on number 3.
Thank you very much again, Arnold Sachs, for the record. So contract number 2 was for work that was initiated in December. Contract number 1 was for work that was initiated in January. So it seems to be that contract number 2 was kind of like the pre-work, where they had to remove the debris, and then contract number 1 was they had to come in and reconstruct where they removed the debris. That's like putting a horse in a cart, and then you have to push the cart. There's something, I don't know what it is, but there's something wrong with this math. It's that county math again. Maybe it is 6 times 11 equals 66, and 6 times 12 does equal 66. And I'm just an idiot. I've been called worse. And I've said I'm called worse. But this part 2, what would be part 2 of the part 2? And you have, how many companies are on the emergency call list for mitigation work? And is that updated how is that updated on a yearly basis? And how many of those are low income? How many of those are minority companies? How many of those are women-owned companies? You can go on and on with a list of who's who. How many of those companies employ vets? How many of those companies do all the things that we hear the city council crow about, but then they end up eating nothing but dead worms? It's very, very, very enlightening to go to a lot of meetings if you have the time and you have the stomach to listen to all the gas that's being passed. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Sachs. Mr. McReynolds on number 3.
Thank you. This is Latuna Slope Mitigation Part 2. On January 5th, 2018, this contract was again awarded on a competitive basis to Clark Contracting Corporation using the existing board-accepted or board-approved on-call geotechnical list of contractors. The project was awarded for $204,900 with a contingency for a not-to-exceed amount of $245,880. The project installed 2,200 lineal feet of K-rail and the removal of debris in preparation for future work at this particular location. One change order was issued, bringing the total cost of the contract to $204,322.24, which is 0.28% below the award amount. The contract was issued using the geotechnical on-call list, thus no specific MBWB levels were established, and the contractor has complied with all other EEO and labor compliance requirements. Work was completed on February 8, 2018, and there are no unresolved property complaints or disputed funds, so we're asking for acceptance on this one as well.
Okay, any questions on number 3? Commissioner Garcia has made a motion that we adopt agenda item number 3. I'll second it. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 3. Any issue sending number 3 forthwith? We'll send number 3 forthwith. Agenda item number 4, authority for expenditure, Homer Man Trucking, Street Services, and the Office of Accounting are requesting board approval and execution of an authority for expenditure in the adjusted amount of $39,000 to pay for transport of cold-in-place recycler machine and other large pieces of equipment between job sites, 4 Streets, LA. This authority for expenditure will increase the funding authority by $20,000. Mr. Sachs on number 4.
Yes, thank you again. Arnold Sachs for the record. Let's see. So Homerman is not the contractor here, I'm assuming. This cold-in-place recycling machine belongs to the contractor. assumption number 2. The city is going to pay $39,000 to transport somebody else's equipment to another contracting site, which they've been bid on and essentially probably gotten a contract for the work, but the city is going to pay the money to move the machinery. Assumption number 4, 5, and 6. And then it will increase the funding authority by $20,000. Well, if you're paying $39,000, then your funding authority should go up by $39,000. Unless, of course, you're using your Ralph's card and you're getting a discount. You know, you put your Ralph's card in for $1 million and you get the item for $2.27. And there's something to be said for that too, because it comes tax write-off time. Ralph's can write off the full amount, the $1 million, even though they sold it for $2.28. There's something to be said for the Ralph's card. So just a few questions. And the other part of this, it's actually called collateral damage. That's what the real problem here is. People come up here to explain themselves because they make them look foolish. It's collateral damage by your city offices.
Thank you, Mr. Sachs. Representative from Street Services this morning. Good morning.
Good morning, board members. Gina Mancha from Bureau of Street Services.
Okay.
The cold-in-place recycling machine, CIR machine, is a Bureau of Street Services machine. And we do all our projects by force account, by our own forces. So we just need home remand services to transport our machine from one project site to another because it's very big, very bulky, and we cannot move it by other means.
These are transport costs in essence.
Yes.
And rather than purchase the type of machine to move our cold-in-place machine, this is the method that we use.
Yes, and I believe it's more cost-effective. I don't know if we've done a feasibility study on how much it would cost to purchase a moving machine for that purpose. This is something we could do, but we do anticipate that the CIR projects will increase in the future. It's been increasing from 16, 17. We had 1 lane mile, 17, 18, 6.29 lane miles, 18, 19. This year, 16.5 lane miles, and next year, 30 lane miles of CIR projects. So it will keep increasing, and we plan to put out a contract for bid next year.
Okay, so then we will, on maybe acquiring our own transport method, and we can make the determination as to whether or not that's cost-effective. Commissioner Cabello?
Thank you, President James. I'm just curious as to what a cold-in-place recycler machine does.
Well, we have Nick Berrigan right here. He's our technical person.
Morning. Nick Berrigan, Street Services. What it does is it grinds, it recycles the pavement, the street pavement. So it grinds it in place. And we put an additive to rejuvenate the asphalt, and then it puts it right back on the street.
Okay.
So we don't have to transport the grindings to another location. It puts it right back, but it can only be done on certain streets that are failing streets. So they have to meet a certain criteria for us to do those streets. That's why this year we're only doing 30.
Well, this
30.
is
60.5. Next year, 30.
Great. Learn something new every day. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, it's gotten some environmental accolades over the years because you don't have all the truck trips of carting the asphalt in places. So, I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 4, seconded by Commissioners Garcia and Davis. Cabello. I'm sorry. I thought I heard it from Garcia. It was Cabello and Commissioner Davis. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 4. You're nodding your head like I thought it was Garcia.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 4. Any issue sending number 4 forthwith? We'll send number 4 forthwith. Thank you both. Dr. Roch, have we cleared the desk?
That does clear the desk, Mr.
Okay,
President.
then we are adjourned. Everyone have a nice week.